We are back with round 3 of the Cabbages and Kings Win-A-Case tournament. We have Mother Talzin from Legends of the Force with a red Force base taking on the tried and true Control Classic Qi'ra Data Vault. Let's check it out. Okay, we got myself on the left here, rocking that Mother Talzin from the new set with the red Force deck, taking on John, rocking the Qi'ra Data Vault. And Qi'ra definitely going to be trying to control the board to go towards that late game. Talzin's going to have to generate the force and just get a good advantage in terms of getting a lot of units on the board. That way mitigating the effectiveness of the control cards John's going to have, like Power of the Dark Side or No Glory, Only Results. Some of these Qi'ra decks use Energy Conversion Lab to get that the new Vader ambush out on 6. John going for the more controlling Data Vault approach and maybe bringing out those timely interventions. So we see John having no turn 1 play, and I played the Kylo Ren unit, attacking the base for 2, generate the force. We did see John play resupply, going up to 4 resources. Definitely something these Qi'ra decks want to see. Sometimes it can be risky against these true aggro decks, but with Talzin being more tempo or mid-range base, you can get away with it. So John's going into 5 resources, meaning Qi'ra can deploy, but one of the signs of a very good Qi'ra player is if they delay the deploy to get the maximum effect of her ability, which is when she deploys, she deals, she heals everything and basically brings every unit down to half HP. So here we see the No Glory, Only Results taking out the Grand Inquisitor. Kylo going to base for 2, bringing John's damage to 4 on Data Vault. So John claims here, so delaying that Qi'ra deploy. Here we see the Secretive Sage come out. The nice thing about Secretive Sage in this matchup is that it'll just ping the shield off and won't take any damage from the Qi'ra deploy. 2 resources still open for myself, so not the most aggressive start you wanted against Qi'ra. So now John is up at 6 resources. See, all 6 tap for Vigilance, healing all the damage off the base and taking out the Kylo Ren unit. Kylo's ability is that if you attach a upgrade on him, you can use the Force to draw a card. And I will say that was my plan for that turn, so very heads up play for John. I go into base for 2 with the Secretive Sage. I'm going to go ahead and deploy Mother Talzin here. And John has claimed, so I just go ahead and play the Sith Holocron. It's a new card from Legend of the Force. For 1 resource, it gives 1/1 to the attached unit, but on attack it can deal 2 damage to a friendly unit, including itself, to buff it for 2 additional power. Here I go to base, hitting for 6. Next turn we're going to 7 resources, and Qi'ra has not deployed yet, so just going to try to get as much damage in as possible. And that was all I had to play there. I think the rest of my hand were a bunch of removal cards. So we're at 7 resources. We can see the Darth Vader from Spark of Rebellion come out. That would not defeat Mother Talzin. Mother Talzin has 6 health on base, we might see Qi'ra come out to weaken it a little bit. We may even see a timely intervention and the new Vader. There's also Darth Maul, so a lot of options for John. So he opts to deploy Qi'ra, bringing Talzin down to 4 health left and taking the shield off the Secretive Sage. I do play Power of the Dark Side here to prevent any sort of overwhelming barrage play. That's usually a great combo, and we do see John had the overwhelming barrage in hand. So definitely something he was trying to set up there. We see an Avenger in hand, which will come in handy. So 6 resources and another Vigilance. Basically erasing all damage done. And here, I didn't really have any units. I wasn't getting those draws, and so I am forced to just play the Fallen Lightsaber to try to get as much damage as I can. So I go ahead and attack base and deal 2 extra damage to Talzin. Hitting for 9 there. Now the thing is, while this Talzin unit looks scary, these Qi'ra decks have a lot of single unit removal. We could also see something like a Vader, which was in hand. John is at 8 resources, so he's got a lot of options, a handful of cards. He's looking very comfortable in this position. And here he smuggles out Timely Intervention for 2. And I think we're going to see the exciting new play from Legend of the Force, which is bring out the new Darth Vader unit. So when it is played, it gives a shield to itself and an enemy unit. And then on attack, it can defeat a unit with a shield on it. So with Ambush, it is very powerful. And that's how he's able to take Talzin out and not even lose the shield. Here I play the Ruthless Raider, ping the shield off. Thing is if it gets defeated, I deal 2 more damage to a unit or base. So a good card against these control decks. See the Secretive Sage going down into the resources. Now, a unit like that might be good to prevent damage from a Devastator or an Overwhelming Barrage because of that shield, and sometimes in these control matchups, just keeping a unit on the board to just have a small unit to take the brunt of Power of the Dark Side, or an Avenger that comes out here can be very useful. So the Ruthless Raider is defeated. 2 damage on Vader and 2 damage to base. 16 damage on the Data Vault, so not even halfway. We do see Count Dooku coming in. I'm sorry, Darth Tyrannus. They are the same character in Star Wars, but different cards here. And while you have the Force, he gains Ambush, and he's also a shielded unit. So taking out that Vader. And here I play Force Throw, forcing John to discard something from his hand, hoping that he's got something big. So 5 damage onto the Avenger. And he claims there. Another Ruthless Raider drawn. So with 3 damage left on the Avenger, we might see something like a Ruthless Raider and using the Talzin ping to, well, not the ping, but the debuff to give it -1/-1, taking care of the last health. So Avenger comes in for 8. And you get to see me mess up my own streaming rules here. Accidentally putting damage directly on the base rather than the nice display app we've got. So it is not looking good for me. We've got not even halfway on the data vault. And an Avenger out. Let's see what we've got here. Again, that Ruthless Raider is in hand. See possibly a Grand Inquisitor unit as well. So 6 resources tapped here. The Ruthless Raider will come down and deal 2 damage to the Avenger and 2 to the base. See, power of the dark side, an overwhelming barrage in hand. So power of the dark side does come down, and then deals 2 damage to the Avenger, taking that out. I claim here, and John goes ahead and puts another vigilance, and this time mills me for 6 and healing 5. So just getting rid of a lot of units there. This is the strength of these Qi'ra decks, that if they can make it past any early aggression, it's basically a matter of grinding down the opponent, taking out anything they play, and just slowly but surely bringing out their big guns here. So we have the Grand Inquisitor unit. It does have Hidden, which means it cannot be defeated by any of those ambushing units, like anything with Timely Intervention or the old Darth Vader or Maul. We see Darth Vader come down anyway. And even without the ambush here, getting to find some additional units, right? Gets to search for through 10 cards and play villainy units that total up to 3 cost. So we see the Phase 2 Dark Trooper come down. It's a 3/3 with Sentinel. And when combat damage is dealt to it, it takes it gets an experience token. So Force Throw coming down, John keeping that Pershing, so only takes 2. And now we see the Talzin leader ability, using the Force to give it -1/-1, taking that out, just clearing the ground arena of any Sentinels. We see Asajj Ventress come down, is a 5/6, and when played on attack, can give +2 to a friendly Force unit. Definitely a card that is better early on. Again, even with 2 units out here, this is definitely favoring these Qi'ra matchups. And we see John checking his resources, another timely intervention for 2 with tons of resources. This could be anything, but it's got to be that new Darth Vader unit. And this is the play you want. He gives the shield to Asajj, so it kills it on attack and then ambushes into the Grand Inquisitor. So a nice 2-for-1 play here, getting both Darth Vader units on the board. This is crushing for a Qi'ra deck. And we see Darth Tyrannus come in, but with no force, there's no ambush. And 5 to base. Data Vault have 15 damage on base. Talzin has 13 damage on base. Here's the thing, if the new Darth Vader unit attacks, it will kill Darth Tyrannus because it has a shield on it. So the question is, do you go to base or do you try to hit something and take the shield off? That is what I'm deciding here. Again, a hopeless situation anyway, but so I could deal 4 into the 5/7 Darth Vader, meaning that they do have to attack into the Darth Tyrannus if they want to clear it. And this also generates the Force. So we see Spark of Rebellion Vader go into base for 5, putting base damage to 18. We see Karis come down for 2. As a 2/4, and when defeated, you can use the Force and give a unit -2/-2. We see the new Vader come in for another 5, bring base damage to 23. I have to claim here, because any attack from the Vaders is lethal. We see Overwhelming Barrage on the 5/7 Vader. That will clear out both units. And for good measure, he brings out that Super Laser Tech. Just get another unit on the board. And there, John has it, winning game 1 in convincing fashion. Even missing the turn 1 play, you see the power of these Qi'ra decks being able to ramp into some awesome cards. So here we're trying to find a good starting hand with a lot of units to be able to get some stuff on the board to stick and basically put a lot of pressure and put John on the back burner, so he's a little uncomfortable going into the Qi'ra flip, and rather than giving him that opportunity to be patient and wait. I mulligan here. Didn't see those turn 1 plays. John's hand, looks like Vigilance, Power to the Dark Side. Can't quite make out the rest of the hand there, but he's definitely considering what he wants to do there. So he does keep that hand. I think that may have been a devastating gunship going to the row. And you can't see my hand, but I will let viewers know that I did not draw any turn 1 plays here. So what you're going to see me do is bluff and pass to see if, if they maybe get excited and claim instead of playing their own turn 1 play. So that's what I did. I passed and then John claimed. Um, you could argue that John, missed the opportunity to play a turn 1 play, but I had nothing. So it's definitely a bluff, and he resupplies, so great start. Here I played Grand Inquisitor. It's a 3/4 with Raid 1 with Hidden. It only has, which means it can't be attacked the turn it is played. But now we're going into 4 resources for Talzin, 5 resources for Qi'ra, and the Power of the Dark Side. This is just a great start for John, being able to ramp, basically pick off any units. We see the Kylo Ren unit come down, and then a Pike Sentinel, a 2/3, and now Secretive Sage. So I'm getting the the two drops on 4 resources, but losing that turn 1 play, and now we see a Sentinel come down that is pretty good for John. And now he's already at 6 resources. Again, he's playing very smart, not deploying Qi'ra too early. The devastating gunship comes down, defeating the Secretive Sage, as it has 2 or less HP. And this is really good for John, because when Qi'ra deploys, it can deal damage to devastating gunship, which has grit, powering it up. So this is a great sequencing for John here. Now the question is, with that extra resource, will he give this Pike Sentinel a shield in exchange for 2 damage on it? Now, I have not generated the force, so I wouldn't be able to use Talzin's ability to basically ping it off for free without deploying it and using Talzin's attack and the on-attack ability to do so. So Kylo does attack 2 in there. The reason why is I did not want to have him put a shield on there. And he goes ahead and puts a shield on the devastating gunship, so making it a 5/3 shielded in space, as it comes out as a 3/5. Qi'ra's ability, paying 1 to deal 2 damage to a unit and giving it a shield. Now I do use Talzin's ability to expend the force and give the Pike Sentinel -1/-1. I think there should be some damage on Kylo here. from attacking into the Pike Sentinel. So Talzin hits base for 3. See, 1 for Sith Holocron. I'm going to use the Force to draw a card. And then 3 for Power of the Dark Side. So taking out that devastating gunship. This is a smart play because it prevents John from starting off the turn with an overwhelming barrage or something to just deal a lot of damage across the board. But we do see Qi'ra can still flip, and that will, 1, bring all of the units down to half health, and then an overwhelming barrage is a great follow-up. I used the Force for Kylo's ability last turn because I just needed some more cards to pressure John here. And so Qi'ra does flip, bringing Kylo down to 2 health and Mother Talzin down to 4 health left. And Qi'ra takes damage and with Grit has 4 power. And I do have the Darth Tyrannus, but I don't have the Force. So in hindsight, I can't remember if when I drew that Darth Tyrannus, but in hindsight, I may have been smarter to not use the Force. That way, Darth Tyrannus could ambush into Qi'ra. But we're going to go ahead and use Sith Holocron's ability on attack, and Kylo's going to kill Qi'ra. Again, worried about that overwhelming barrage play. That is often a great follow-up. But John, at 7 resources, plays Darth Vader here. This is going to most likely ambush into Talzin, taking it out. And here he looks at 10 cards. Let's see what he can play. Looks like there is a Super Laser Tech and a Pershing. The Pershing comes out. And Darth Vader taking 3 damage back. I have 6 resources open, but only 4 damage on base and nothing on board. This is already looking great for John. Darth Tyrannus changing the canon of Star Wars by coming in and killing Darth Vader this time. And a Night Sister Warrior coming out for 2. And when that gets defeated, you can draw a card. So that is a decent card against these control matchups, because if they use something like a Power of the Dark Side, you can choose to kill it, get your card draw, and it doesn't feel terrible. Now the only thing bad about that is that I want to keep my units on board to keep hitting base, because I need to do 29 damage and 29 damage fast, and based on the ability of John's deck, there's just most likely not a way to do the damage that fast. And he hits me with the no glory, only result. So taking control of Night Sister Warriors, then defeating it. And so he gets to draw a card off of that effect. Great heads up play. Basically, just continuing not only his board control, but also drawing another card. That's great for these control decks. So going ahead and looking through the discard pile, basically checking how many Power of the Dark Sides, how many No Glory only results have been played. Sometimes against these control decks, you want to check that to see if, what are you going to run into. So Darth Tyrannus hitting base for 4. John using Pershing's ability, dealing damage to itself and drawing a card. So you see Force Throw. We know John has to have been drawing some good stuff, and maybe it's all good stuff, and he has to give out something worth a lot. He discards the Supremacy Tie, deals 3 to Pershing, and there's that Power of the Dark Side. And Ruthless Raider coming out, dealing 2 to Pershing, 2 to base. Only 10 damage on Data Vault. So I'm going up to 8 resources. I believe John is at 9 resources here. So we could see things like Avenger, or I mean that would be the big one, but with tons of great cards in the deck, we could even see something like another no glory only results. We do just see the Super Laser Blast taking care of it. Sometimes these Ruthless Raiders can get real out of hand. Okay, maybe he was only at 8. So Kylo Ren unit coming down is a 2/3. And we put the Sith Holocron on there, using the Force to draw a card, just trying to get a lot of units to play. We see the Secretive Sage, and I go ahead and pass. And after the removal or Super Laser Blast, you just want to try to flood the board. Now, this is still an uphill battle for the Talzin deck. We see for 7 resources, Darth Vader from Spark of the Rebellion come down. That is going to, again, look at 10 cards and then ambush into something. See if John gets anything good. We see that Phase 3 Dark Trooper with Sentinel. A great spot there. And Secretive Sage, only having 2 power, cannot defeat the Dark Trooper. And Talzin does not have the Force. But we go ahead and swing 2 into the Dark Trooper, trying to get some damage on it. But more importantly, trying to generate the Force. And a Pike Sentinel coming down. So 2 Sentinels on here. It's looking really tough. So Ruthless Raider coming down, dealing 2 more damage to the Phase 3 Dark Trooper. But this still leaves that Pike Sentinel out on there. And here, John, forgetting that he already deployed Qi'ra. So we're having that discussion there. And again, this is something that we both learned, that it's important to mark our leaders when we have, after we've deployed. And after a discussion of how Qi'ra died earlier, he realizes that it's already been deployed. And I go ahead and mark my leader, as some spectators were curious if Talzin deployed at that point. So John does retain initiative here. And looking really great for him. Got tons of resources open, a Sentinel in the ground, and the Vader unit out there. I think there is a no glory only results in hand, which would be great to take control of the Ruthless Raider and use its ability to take out the Secretive Sage. So really no hope for me here. Just trying to hold on and hope. So we see Talzin's Assassin. On one plate, you can use the Force to give a unit -3/-3. So using that just to clear the Sentinel, because what you don't want is a Sentinel to be out there and it get a shield from Qi'ra. And now he plays Craving Power, a new card from the Legends of the Force set. Gives the unit +2/+2. It is an upgrade, but when played, you get to deal damage to the unit's power to an enemy unit. And I counter with Power of the Dark Side just to get that out of there. But really, any sort of even trades are going to favor the control deck, which is definitely John here. Only 12 damage on Data Vault, 2 on the red base, but with Data Vault at 33 total, looking good for John, especially as he plays a Vigilance. And we do see Regional Governor and Ruthless Raider, and a second Regional Governor being discarded, which are usually great cards against these control matchups, to shut down things like the Timely Intervention, new Darth Vader play, turn off Super Laser Blast. Those Regional Governors can come in real handy. So it's very good for John to see them milled by Vigilance. Here I bring out the Grand Inquisitor and Secretive Sage, and the story is this: can I build my board back up and keep it built up? Now again, something like a Super Laser Blast or a Timely with the new Vader can easily just take this out. We see Devastator, a 10/10 in space, taking out Grand Inquisitor. So with just a Secretive Sage out here, we're going to tap 1 for Force Throw. Again, trying to see if we can make John give up a really strong card. That's just a Dr. Pershing, so 2 damage onto Devastator. Not what I was hoping for. So 2 into base from the Secretive Sage. John only at 9 damage. Force is generated. See Regional Governor. And I cannot. I believe here I named Darth Vader. A nice thing about that call is that it affects both Darth Vader units, because it just looks for the name of the card. So that is a strength of Regional Governor. It basically prevents both Darth Vader plays coming out. And we see Craving Power. That's going to take out the Regional Governor. A good heads-up play for John. Then we see Rival's Fall come down. Takes out his big unit. Some people might be thinking that he should have just swung in, but John is in such a comfortable place. Really got through the top end of the Talzin deck, so just a matter of time. So I force throw him again. His hand is getting low, so we see him discard Fell the Dragon. Probably not something that he'll need in this matchup. I do use the Force to give -1/-1 to the Pershing, taking it out, and attack with both units, bringing up to 15, and the Force is generated off those attacks. We see another Devastator in hand, and it looks like an overwhelming barrage. John not even having to resource here, and he just Super Laser Blasts, clears the board. And Karis comes down. And Marin, and I'm out of cards here. So basically just living off of the top deck. That's why I just want to give a shout out for this nice 2-player mat that we are borrowing for these games. This was lent by Garrett, who you saw in round 1 rocking that Kylo deck. And here we see the Timely Intervention Vader play, giving a shield to a unit and ambushing the other one, and on attack defeating the shielded unit. Now another Karis coming down. For one, we see Force Lightning. So tapping 1 for the Force Lightning, and for every additional resource you tap, deal 2 damage to a unit if you control a Force unit. So for a total of 4 resources, taking out Darth Vader. And now we see Devastator come down, dealing damage equal to the amount of resources you control. And there's that question of, it's going to take out the Karis, but how much damage did it actually just deal there? It's a funny question once when you get so far into these games. and you have so many resources. So the Talzin Assassin comes out, but not using the Force because it's not going to kill the Devastator, so there's no reason to just waste it, since it only gives it -3 for the phase. John goes ahead and pays 1 for Qi'ra's ability, dealing 2 damage to Devastator and giving it a shield. So that does protect it against some Force throw shenanigans. Now I do have the initiative. I deal 4 to base. And John's going to hit base for 10. So this is where these control decks, they just start hammering away with their big unit. We see Marin hit the field. And overwhelming barrage is just going to take out both of those, dealing 12 damage total. And I am going to attempt to fight the Devastator with Kylo's TIE Silencer, a 3-2. And he just goes ahead and Rivals falls it. Doesn't want to risk anything here. I claim. And looks like I only have about 4 cards in my deck. So getting close to that danger zone. When you run out of cards for every card you're supposed to draw, and there is none, you take 3 damage to your base. So I go ahead and play a Sage Ventress. That's all you can do. And at this point, if you get to a spot where your deck is low, you just don't want a resource, you want all those cards in your hand. So Maul just comes out and annihilates a Sage Ventress. And I have to claim there. There's not much I can do. John goes to base for another 10. And plays a Phase 3 Dark Trooper. Now, I just want to point out that John is a very friendly guy, and we've been cracking jokes the past couple turns, knowing that I have absolutely no way of winning this game. And maybe my last 2 cards could help. I play the Night Sister Warrior. And he taps 1 for timely intervention. He's going to go ahead and bring out a Super Laser Tech, ambush the Night Sister Warrior, gets another resource, and I do have to draw a card, which gives me closer to the danger zone. I'll go ahead and play Power of the Dark Side. And I finally get that pesky Devastator away. And he decides to hit for 3, bring me up to 26. And with my last resources, going to head and play Karis. And John, very scared about this Karis unit. You can tell that he pays 8 resources for the Super Laser Blast. Clearing the entire board. Now I claim, and he passes. And with that, I take 3 more damage, bring up to 29. And with a 28 health base, that takes me out. So all around good play by John. Very one-sided match, but just showing that while at Galactics, the Qi'ra Data Vault maybe didn't show up on the top of the leaderboard, it is still very much a threat in this game and a very strong deck to contend with. Thanks for watching, and hope you'll watch the next one.